This is Cult Film Face-Off.
Hello and welcome to Cult Film Face-Off, episode 60. With me, as always, is Chet Roivas.
Hey-o.
And I am Nick Leonard. Firstly, a big thanks to Steve Ray for recommending the pairing of this week's films, which are two sci-fi action crime films. First out the box and short-circuiting, causing murderous intent, is Runaway from 1984. In the not-too-distant future, John Ramsey works as a cop in the Runaway Squad, which deals with out-of-control robots. John is called to a domestic disturbance where a robot has been programmed to kill. This leads him to uncover a plot to unleash a legion of killer robots. Runaway.
It is the future. Mysteriously spreading across an unsuspecting city, machines trained to serve humans are turning against them.
What do you got, Jerry?
Model 912 cut up two people inside the house.
I'm going in.
You're going in. We can send a disarm robot in.
It hit the floater, it'll hit the disarm, and any minute it's going to decide to hit the kid.
An ingenious conspiracy has begun, and someone has to stop the madman who started it all.
We've got a non-standard chip here. Can turn any domestic computer into a killing machine.
Working late at night all by yourself?
I just had a few things to finish up. No big
I
deal.
insist. Let me help you.
No.
Bug detected.
Got a lot of bugs, Jackie. I thought I was queen.
Luther really wants to keep track of you. Why's that, Jackie? This is a bad guy. He's killed 5 so far. I want him.
I'm telling you, I can't go out there. I can't go out!
Runaway. Tom Selleck, Cynthia Rhodes, Gene Simmons. Runaway. From TriStar Pictures.
Right, Chet, Runaway. Had you seen it? Had you heard of it?
Definitely heard of it. It was on TV quite a lot when I was a kid. I loved Tom Selleck, loved Magnum P.I., and this looked like a wicked film. I don't know how I avoided seeing it. It was one of those movies that I always wanted to see. Never saw it. Yeah, so this was my first time. What about you?
Never seen it, never heard of it.
Never heard of it?
Nope.
They remember this growing up? It's always on BBC One.
No,
It was
nothing.
always on at Christmas. Do you not remember that?
No, nothing. No, never come across it.
On TV, that image with Tom Selleck with the gun, I was like, I've got to see that as a kid. No?
Never seen it. No, never came
How
across
queer.
it.
How queer.
What did you think?
Well, first of all, it begins, and I started thinking to myself, it starts off with Tom Selleck on a mission to go and pull a malfunctioning crop cutting droid out of a field. And I thought, so, hang on, what's his job? He's a cop. So he goes to this field, and I thought, okay, is there some sort of arrangement with the people making the droids and the police? It's some sort of insurance policy? And the farmers, are they scared to interact with this droid? And what's the deal? He goes there, he picks a droid out of a field, and then he gives it back to the farmers.
I thought the farmers were quite funny. They were all kind of like, they all wore exactly the same trucker caps. So they just went, oh, I was like, they were like farmers done in South Park.
That's true. But I was like, is Tom Selleck not obliged to replace or repair this thing? He just goes to a field, picks it up, and gives it back to the farmers. Are they scared? What's the story there? I mean, and also this will never.
Can't trust those farmers, George. They took our jobs.
This would never be a division of the police force. I was like, what the fuck's going on? At this point, I thought I'm supposed to turn my brain off, and I did. And then, aside from the finale, which I'll get to, this is a very, very entertaining film. I think Michael Crichton doesn't really know how to direct action. I mean, I think the action scenes are workmanlike at very, very best.
I think that's being kind to the action scenes.
Yeah,
they're fucking terrible.
They're bad. But he can convey. He's really great at conveying conflict and dialogue, and he knows about structure. And I think when you have those two things down, you can come up short almost everywhere else and still have a compelling film. I thought this was really compelling, and I think Michael Crichton's script is actually as fucking dopey as it is. Until the finale, which I will get to, it's really propulsive, forward-moving. It's one of those Hollywood movies that you just think they got this right. Everyone's sort of doing everything correctly. It works. It works as a sort of mass market entertainment. So yeah, I liked it until the ending, which I'll get to.
Yeah.
So you didn't think so much of this?
No, I didn't. I didn't think so much of this. Tom Selleck battling a fax machine, who is basically at best a robot wards cast-off who didn't make the cut. Yeah, I was just kind of like Tom Selleck is so fucking stiff. His performance is so stiff. I didn't get at any point that he was ever going to be a worthy foe to anybody. But then talking about worthy foes, I mean, I think possibly Dr. Luther, Gene Simmons, is the worst baddie I've ever seen in a film.
It's up
It is
there.
terrible. So for me, it was like two terrible lead performances. To be honest, I mean, Gene Simmons is terrible as Dr. Luther. I mean, just terrible.
He's unbelievably terrible. I mean, you can't describe it without using the word pantomime. He juts his jaw out and he does that thing where he lowers his head. And
Sucker. Like it's all jawing to camera really badly. It's just like shit. You should never have been near a film set.
It's goofy to the fucking power of a million.
It's the worst. It is the worst scream. It is the worst scream baddie I've ever seen.
It's a silly film anyway, and he takes it down several notches.
Yeah.
I mean, he is fucking abominable in this film actually. But and. He's a twat in real life as well, but yeah.
Terrible band, terrible fucking screen presence. And Selleck is just not. I mean, I really was just like, has Selleck just formed a career from having a really good moustache? He's terrible. He is stiff as a board. He's just not convincing. In the action scenes, there's a scene where he has to like kick through a door. He doesn't actually. He raises his foot about 2 inches off the ground, and just goes poof. Like he's just really. He is wet. He is stiff as a board, and he is wet as a flannel.
Tom Selleck, I think his whole career is based around the fact that he
has a great tash.
I think he's an overwhelmingly likeable.
Oh, he's just
person.
affable and
that's it. I think that's the sum total of his career. As unkind
that's
as that
fine
sounds.
in Three Men and that's fine in 3 Men and a Baby. It's not fine in Runaway.
I can understand. I like Tom Selleck, but I can understand why his big screen career never took off because he doesn't work in this film. He has no range. I mean, there's two scenes that I remember explicitly at the beginning. When he's introduced to his new partner, there's a scene where he's walking behind her and he's just looking at the floor or looking at her belt or something. I was like, oh, he's supposed to be checking her out. But Tom Selleck's just like walking around looking at the floor. I'm like, he's supposed to be like oogling her and he can't pull that off. Also, when he goes into that house at the beginning where there's a droid going apeshit, which is really funny because you see this little droid on the floor with a gun that's supposedly firing a gun that everyone's scared. It's so terrible. But there's a cameraman comes in to this potential gunfight, and Tom Selleck turns around to try and it's like he's trying to usher a fly away. He's like, get out. He doesn't command any authority at all. I don't get from him that he had this terrible fear of heights and also it's really kind of like I found it kind of wince-inducing when he's trying to pull off that he's a loving father to that kid from Flight of the Navigator. Yeah, right. All the criticisms are completely legit about Tom Selleck. I just find him likable. I'm like a middle-aged housewife. I just like him. I just want to. He's not. He doesn't make a convincing hard-ass cop.
I actually think when you get down to the crux of it, he's got a lovely top lip, hair follicles. That's it with Tom Selleck, and I think he's a good-looking guy. He's 6'2", he's built like whatever. He's fine to look at, but he is just not a good enough actor to carry this film.
He didn't make it as a movie star, and this really explains why. But
absolutely,
this didn't derail the movie for me.
No, but the film. The problem is this. The first 20 minutes. I was like, okay, I'm invested. Then he's fixing, as you know, we touched upon he's there with the hicks in the fields.
What's your job? You have to go to. I mean, why are they doing it?
Well, he deals with robots that are malfunctioning, whether it's on a building site dropping like heavy loads of cement, or whether it's someone in a field not picking corn.
But there would never be a division of
well,
the
of course
police
it would. It is completely. It is so fucking stupid. It really is stupid. I mean, this film is a stupid movie.
Yeah, it's
Gene Simmons has this handgun which dispenses these like heat-seeking missiles. So they could kind of do this whole technique of having a camera tracking people
very slowly.
Very slow, not like a fucking bullet would. That's kind of laughable in itself. And also, very slow-moving mechanical spiders just aren't much of a threat.
Yeah, that's right.
There is only one sequence in this film that I think was actually done well, and it's the sequence which has a zinger of a Tom Selleck line when he's talking to the police who are outside a bathroom trying to track Dr. Luther, and he goes, "Congratulations, guys, you just staked out a roll of loo paper."
Loo paper?
Yeah, because they go in there and it's just the loo paper.
Yeah, but when in America ever said loo paper?
Crapper roll.
Was the line loo paper? I'll find out. We'll find out.
Let's find out. And the best sequences is one of the mechanical spiders comes down and kind of she looks kind of like a young hot Maureen Lipman, which is weird because she's not hot at all, but the police officer's kind of hot, and she's there, and she gets attacked, and literally an officer knocks on the door, and just goes and explodes, and I went, that's a good sequence. That was actually done really well, because it's kind of thundering outside.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of kind of thundering weather outside. That was done really well. This movie is not a good movie.
I thought it was pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the action sequences didn't have any kind of didn't have any kind of energy or. Do you know what I mean? There's a sequence when I mean, Kirstie Alley is good in this film. I'll say that as a positive. Kirstie Alley is Jackie, is sassy, she's strong-willed, and she sports some very formidable 80s shoulder pads. She's really good in this film. But that whole sequence on the road, I mean, I was just there going, I'm not getting anything from this. I'm not feeling this
on the road.
Yeah, the robots are chasing and they're going in between the cars.
Oh, right.
And Tom Selleck looks like
I thought that was pretty good.
I was just there going, nothing's happening here.
I think that the action scenes are really well written. They're very badly executed. I think Michael Crichton's not a great director in terms of the action, but
if you haven't got good action, you haven't got good central performances, you haven't got a good baddie, what are you left with in this movie that's entertaining?
A pretty compelling story, I thought. I thought it was very, very compelling on a sort of very, very basic mass market mass. It's like the Wikipedia page of this seems to have been written by a very, very like a super fan of this movie, because it blames its lack of success on the fact that it came out amidst like Terminator 2010. There were a load of great sci-fi movies that came out in the same window, and this
is aged terribly.
I don't think it has aged that bad, to be honest. I just thought it was. I mean, the thing is, this is the same conversation we had a couple of episodes ago, I think, where I was just talking about. I like the fact. Oh no, last episode, the Rutger Hauer one, where I think it's a well-told story, as stupid as it is, and I have a lot of appreciation for that. I mean, where this film really, really fails, I mean, actually, I'll say that, it's quite cheap in that it keeps placing children in danger. It keeps doing that, and I'm like, stop with, there's a baby in the house that's going to get killed, and it is unintentionally funny. Seeing that little thing with a gun, holding a gun in a claw that's supposed to be a threat to everybody, that's funny.
When Robot Wars goes bad.
Yeah, and then you have Tom Selleck running away in slow-mo with the bullets POV. I mean, some of it's goofy as fuck and it's silly, but I thought it was a well-told story. The very end, on the construction site at night. Incidentally, if you saw this as a kid, you'd probably constantly get it mixed up with Three Men and a Baby, because they both end in sort of very similar construction sequences at night that involve elevators. But
that whole end sequence is just such an anticlimax.
That's one of
he gets over his aversion immediately because he's in a lift. But he gets over his fear of heights.
He goes to go and get his child. His child's in a lift. He goes in one lift that goes up. They put spiders on the lift. The son comes down in the lift. He throws one of the spiders off. The kid's not in a lift anymore. I'm just like, what's going on with these elevators?
It's fucking stupid.
I was like, they really, really didn't know what they were doing.
No, it's really stupid. And it's like, you're meant to... what they are, throwing down your throat this whole film is that Dr. Luther... Well, I mean, the Dr. Luther character, let's fucking look at Dr. Luther character, right? Is that there is no backstory. There's no justification. He's just an evil man. Yeah, it's like, what's his justification? Why? Why is he doing this?
I mean...
There's no explanation.
That's true.
Yes, he comes undone by his own evil doing, and all the spiders are slowly going towards him, right? And you're like, hang on a minute, I've been watching these spiders kill people for the last hour and a half. I know that your head should blow up. If your head's not going to blow up, well, you're obviously not dead, are you?
That's
right? Which is what happens. And then when he does finally die, it's like a series of very disappointing indoor fireworks going off with little plumes of smoke coming out of his trousers.
That whole thing.
It's absolute butters.
It did foresee drones, though. There's this scene with the drone. I was like, oh, they exist now. Something from a sci-fi movie. It's something. Right. But yeah, that construction site finale is like what they. This is what I'm curious about, because I think, like I said, I think the action scenes are very well written, but they're badly directed. Was that a really great action scene on the page that Michael Crichton just didn't know what he was doing?
I mean,
elevators going up and down.
Every action sequence was done really poorly.
Yeah, this is basic.
Every time when they were, they were trying to apprehend him, they're in the hotel room staking him out. They came in, a couple of gunshots are fired. Someone has an exploding bullet put under her arm.
I thought
that sequence was so over the top. She's kind of orgasming where he's trying to find the bullet and take it out of her. There was no dramatic tension in there. I just find this was complete and utter throwaway fluff.
No, I thought this was actually quite. Aside from the absolutely diabolically poor finale, I thought this was a really.
I think there's everything. There's so many diabolical things.
I thought it was a really well-made film, and I was completely compelled.
But what was well made about it? The action sequences are really terrible.
I think
The
because
performances were uniformly...
they weren't exciting.
But then that's all you got to ask for in this kind of film. Is that there was no. I mean, I was just kind of like, there was nothing keeping me gripped in this. I was just like, when's it gonna? When's it going to end?
I thought it was a good, compelling story. I mean, very, very dopey, but I like the fact that...
It was all a bit daft. It was all daft.
Yeah,
it was all kind of...
Yeah, absolutely. But I just thought there was
almost like kids' TV. He got to the computer. Oh, he's found out where my son is.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. It's a dumb-ass film, but...
Yeah. And I think one of the most contrite end taglines of a movie. I mean, the ending... the ending had me fucking laughing. The very end of the movie, when Tom Selleck's character and his partner, just before they embrace... for the entire credit sequence.
Under some sparks.
She goes, can you cook? He goes, try me.
No, it was the other way around. He says that. He says, can you cook? And she says, try me.
Right, whoever says it. But that's the tryest line of all time. And
it's something that would get a lot of flack today. Can you cook? Are we going to be in a relationship? Can you cook? Try me. Yes, I assure you I can cook.
I assure you, you'll not need a robot to make your pasta al dente.
Yeah.
And then they just kiss for the entire end credit sequence while burnt metal is raining down upon... I was just there going...
Those sparks should have set fire to someone's hair.
Or hopefully Tom Selleck's moustache, so there's a bit of that. But if that had happened, maybe there'd actually been some bona fide action in the film.
No, I mean the action was not good.
The action was terrible.
I love
action was terrible. The vision of the future was flimsy. The robots were rubbish. Tom Selleck was not convincing. I mean, Gene Simmons should never be allowed to be in front of a camera ever again.
I don't think he ever was. I'm a sucker for a good yarn. I think this is a good yarn.
I just thought it was pish.
Well,
it was crap.
I liked it, but it's rubbish. But I liked it.
Yeah. I didn't like it. I'll never watch it. Don't watch it. Do yourself a favour.
No, I wouldn't.
Rent Magnum PI and see Three Men and a Baby.
No, this is all right. It's an all right movie.
Dung. So on to the next.
Yeah.
Split Second, directed by Tony Maylam from 1992. It's 2008. London is suffering from widespread flooding. Detective Harley Stone is a veteran cop haunted by visions of his partner who is killed by a perp he couldn't apprehend. Now the killer is back and on a fresh spree. However, he soon discovers what he is hunting might not be a human. Split Second.
I unloaded a full clip 450 Magnum, point blank. It disappeared.
He can hear its heartbeat.
Where'd he go?
He knows it's out there.
Somebody must have seen something.
He knows what it can do.
You telling me there's something running around loose in this city, ripping the hearts out of people and eating them?
Maybe he eats them for breakfast.
Now it's really pissing him off.
Buster!
And his new partner
I work alone.
makes two.
Paranoid people with guns are a menace to society.
You'd be paranoid too if you had a dipshit like this following you.
Lack of manners and serial homicide.
Oh, terrific.
It has no motive.
The only thing we know for sure is that he's not a vegetarian.
It has the DNA structure of all its victims.
It gives no warning.
You ready to die?
But one thing's for certain.
We gotta get bigger guns.
It ain't no pushover.
Two, yeah.
Bingo! We want to get to Cannon Street.
No, you don't.
Yes, we do.
Boy, are you pushy. I wouldn't say this thing thinks it's safe. I'd say it is safe.
Rat bastard! Safety is a deep shit. Get out of there! 5 seconds! Okay, 4, 3, 2.
Rutger Hauer. Split Second.
Nice timing.
Split Second.
So, Split Second. Had you heard of it? Had you seen it before?
Certainly heard of it. It got slammed by all of the movie magazines I read when I was a kid, because I was very interested in this movie, and it just got slated 1-star reviews non-stop across the board. So Yeah, I'd certainly heard of it. Never seen it, so this is my first time. What about you?
No, I'd never. I'd heard of it.
Yeah.
Certainly heard of it. I'd seen it. I'd seen the poster. Had seen it when it got released onto VHS. It had different poster artwork to what it had in the cinema, and I'd read about it in the likes of Neon Empire, Telefilm. What did you think?
When it started, I thought pretty quickly. I thought, okay, good. The tongue is firmly in cheek. That first shot of Rutger Hauer strutting away from a fire, I was like, oh, okay, I know where we are. This is really, really good.
Did you know something about that sequence?
No.
Okay, so what I noticed about the sequence, Rutger Hauer striding towards camera, and his leather coat kind of comes away, and you see this pretty hefty gut, and he immediately grabs his leather coat and goes, "Nope, you're not seeing that."
I didn't notice that at all.
Because he has got a punch and a half in this movie, Rutger Hauer.
Wow, okay.
He is put on some serious poundage.
Oh, I didn't notice that, but I thought that was a really...
That cracked me up.
I
didn't wear my cummerbund.
I'll be sure to dig that up for the video. But yeah, I like the fact that I thought, okay, we're in B-movie territory. Almost immediately after that, one of the first scenes, it becomes clear that there's a nightclub where the bouncer's a dog, and I was like, okay, I'm all in for this. Unfortunately, it doesn't maintain that tone. I mean, there are moments where I thought, for the first half, I thought this plays pretty effectively as a spoof, and there was a little bit of time where I stopped the film to write down the lines of dialogue because they were so cliched. I hear he's the best. It said at one point, the press are going to have a field day. Get forensics on this. And then I stopped and I said, if I do this, I'm going to be doing it through the whole film. So I gave up. No cliche is left unturned. I mean, Howard is suspended at the beginning. The doctors say he's crazy, and the weirdest thing of all time. Why in the future do we have to go to fetish clubs where women dress in fetish gear and dance?
It's the future.
Why is that? That's a cliche that just will not go away. It's so weird. What do you? Did you like this?
So,
this is my feelings after. I'd say the opening 20 minutes, maybe 15.
So I'll go with the opening 20 minutes as well.
Okay.
So you're introduced to Harley Stone, Rutger Hauer, who is hunting a serial killer who murdered his partner, and he rocks up to this nightclub where said Rottweiler is there, right?
Is in charge.
And he knocks on the door, and in 2008 he pays 50 sheets to go and see a wobbly-bummed, leather-clad dominatrix shake her cellulite jelly hindquarters in his grill for 50 sheets. I say no, Ian Jury. I will not pay you that money. I will not pay you that money. It makes me laugh, because also I'll go back to the gut of Rutger Hauer, is that he has an extremely large, big belt buckle to take your gaze off his gut as well.
Wow, yeah.
They're doing everything to avert your attention from that gut of his. It's a funny performance. It's a weird performance from Rutger Hauer, because it's kind of, he really doesn't give a shit. He's doing some lines, he's delivering seriously. Some lines he doesn't deliver. Apparently, I was reading that there was a lot of kind of discontent on the film set, and Rutger Hauer wasn't very pleased with how things were going. This is a film that was plagued with loads of rewrites.
Yeah.
The end sequence, especially, was done extremely fast, and it actually changed director.
Yeah.
So
Rutger Hauer's another guy who I think is very likeable, but he's not someone. He's kind of someone to cut to, not linger on. He's not a lead. When the camera lingers on him, he looks downright antsy. I mean, I don't know whether that's just down to the... I mean, again, he's not... He's never really convinced me as a leading man. He's one of those performers who usually benefits from very, very good editing, and he's not great at holding the attention. So when the camera lingers on him, and he just seems like
it's almost like sometimes he slips out of character,
exactly.
as well, which is kind of just fucking odd.
But he's so brilliant when he's in a supporting role, and I just think that this is the wrong role for him, or maybe he is so disinterested and fed up with all the shenanigans.
I think it's a bit of a pugnacious performance at times. I mean, there's so many. I mean, Christ, there's only how many times that he grabs people by the throat, but he's just not a physically imposing presence.
It's bad casting in that sense.
And this film is cheap. I mean, it's cheap as very soggy chips. It's a very cheap movie, and they reuse sets. Christ, do they reuse sets in this film? We mentioned previously on another episode about the surprise. I think it was a Space Truckers episode about not reusing a set.
Yeah.
There is no worry about that here.
Yeah, really.
Let's go back to the crime scene. Let's go back to the bar. Let's go. You know, there's a lot of rehashing.
That street scene looks remarkably
Oh
like the
my
street
God,
scene we've
how-
seen 10 times before. Yeah.
The one street we can drive down, the water slopping everywhere, flowing everywhere.
Yeah.
This film is kind of like a mashup of genres. It starts off being a In Pursuit of a Serial Killer movie, and then it's kind of becomes a buddy cop movie, and then it becomes kind of a bit of a horror kind of. There's some horror sort of trope sci-fi stuff going on in there. It's a bit all over the shop. It's like there's a moment in the first half of the film. There's a few moments in the first sort of half of the film where it's kind of alluded to that Rutger Hauer has come some kind of sixth sense, which then they don't even touch upon for the rest of the movie, which is just a bit fucking odd.
The thing about Rutger Hauer, you know, as we said, I just feel like he's not a leading man, but he is charming.
But in a really goofy way.
Yeah,
I just felt his performance, he's meant to be, okay, I mean, whether this is going to be tongue-in-cheek, I don't know. He's meant to be this kind of man over the, you know, I'm this kind of crazy, I'm a grizzle cop, Mel Gibson-esque, I'm fucking volatile, I'm, you know, and what his vice is? Coffee, lots of sugar and chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, there are moments when he's really absent-minded. I mean, my favourite moment in the whole film is when he's in conversation with his partner and they're trying to solve the mystery, and Pete Postlethwaite comes in just giving him aggro, and he does his.
How many times he grabbed people by the throat or pushes them against a wall?
Yeah, right. But then he walks back to his partner and he's like, what, like a puzzled drunk. What were we talking about? What were we talking about again? I was like, that was a really nice little moment. It's a shame that there wasn't more of that because the film's slightly haphazard. But Kim Cattrall goes back to his dirty, disgusting, horrific apartment, and for some reason, Rutger Hauer has used some kind of adhesive to stick a load of chocolates to the outside of his dirty, disgusting refrigerator in the shape of a heart. I don't know whether we did that before Kim Cattrall came back on the scene or whether we did that as a nice treat for her. It's a dirty, disgusting fridge with stuck chocolates. And Kim Cattrall just goes, oh yeah, I'll eat one of those. And I thought, don't eat that. Later on, you see a shot of the fridge and they're all gone. And it's like, why is it implied that she just ate a whole load of fucking chocolate? What the fuck?
I didn't know
that was like a real what the fuck moment. This film does, I mean, it kind of, I had a goodwill towards it for quite a while, but it loses steam big time. And then as it becomes them trying to solve the occult mystery,
it just descends into ridiculousness. We're culminating in a really, really lackluster final sequence.
Yeah, it's whack.
Terrible. And it's a shame because the first beginning of it is just like, yeah, okay, serial killer, okay, context, his partner was taken down by this serial killer, all's not quite what it can seem. Is it an animal? Is it a beast? Is it a kind of, do you know what I mean? Yeah. I was engrossed. And also I'm a big sucker, and I've said it before in the podcast, I'm a big sucker for an American film to have a London setting, because what you get with that is you get some really good English kind of character actors in there. And you mentioned him before, Pete Postlethwaite's in it. And standout for me is Alan Armstrong. I mean, Alan Armstrong, he's like the chief of police. He's the ball-breaking, shouty commandant.
Was this actually in America? I mean, I know the script was originally intended to be set in America and they rewrote it. But wasn't it bought by I mean, this doesn't. I don't think this was a Hollywood production, was it? This is a British movie, isn't it?
I think it's an American studio, mate. It's filming it in the UK.
I thought the script was bought. I'm not sure. It's got quite a complicated. I don't know.
I've got no idea with the financing but I mean, it's an American director, American producer.
Tony Mann's English.
Oh, right, they're both English. Is it a completely English thing?
No, I think originally this was set,
it was meant to be in the States, right?
Yeah, and then they rewrote it to because I think an upstart English production company bought the script. So I think it was fun. I mean, that would explain why it looks so shit, because an American production would never really would they?
It's cheap.
It looks like English TV.
It doesn't look like English TV.
Actually, it's an ugly film, and it's a stylized film by people with no sense of style. They just keep moving floodlights about. There'll be scenes where everyone's backlit by some floodlight behind them, and then there's a scene where everyone's lit from
it's pretty inconsistent.
It looks like shit.
I mean, on VHS, this fucking killed it. This was like #1 spot on VHS in the UK. It did really well on the rental market.
Really?
I think it flopped to the cinema, but did really well on the rental market.
Okay, see, I'm not unhappy to learn that. At the same time, I was thinking this is not a very good film.
No, I have to talk about the ending. The ending is an absolute steaming keg of shit.
Yeah, it's not great.
It is terrible. Yeah. They have that scene where they're getting tooled up, and you're going, yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is going to come. They're getting tooled up. They're getting big weapons. It's going to kick off. it doesn't kick off. It doesn't kick off at all. You get introduced to Michael J. Pollard as a rat catcher.
Yeah.
He pops up for 5 minutes, gets killed. And then it's just a really confusing action set piece at the end. You're like, where is the monster? And his hand's shot through the roof and tracks down the entire roof of a train.
Yeah.
And then Rutger Hauer offs him by grabbing his heart out of his chest and does a Mortal Kombat finishing move.
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, it just...
That was the...
It was a terrible ending.
Just before that, isn't that the bit where Tony Mayhem basically left the production? Isn't it?
Yeah, the last part of the film was filmed by Ian Sharp.
Yeah.
Ian Sharp did the whole last... I mean, and that's probably where the bulk of the money went, because obviously to flood a fucking tube station, you can't do it. So all of it is set. But it's just a really poorly executed action sequence.
Yeah, it is.
And the look of the fucking creature is it's a man in a suit with a fucking venom head.
Yeah, it's rubbish. I mean, if you like this kind of stuff, I think you will like this, because, this is what B movies were in that era. It doesn't deviate from formula.
You'd never have this film. You'd never have this made today.
No. Well, I think it would be a hell of a lot better. I mean, I think. It's so reluctant to deviate from formula, but it is one of those movies that there's a lot of enthusiasm. People really have fond memories of it.
There is a lot of fans of this movie online. And I don't know. I mean, the thing that kind of I don't know, kind of is my Achilles heel is that it's filmed in London. It has Rutger Hauer's in it. But I mean, this was filmed over 8 rapid weeks. It was just rushed out. Knights of White Satin. Fucking hell!
Yeah, that's a weird.
They bought the rights to it, did a cover version, and they didn't have the Moody Blues. They couldn't, but they got someone to cover it, and it's played incessantly throughout this fucking movie.
Yeah, big time. I mean, my favourite thing in the film is the shooting range sequence.
Oh yeah,
because there aren't any shooting ranges, where cops go, like in America, obviously. So they make this kind of. It's like 3 wooden rectangles with a circle on, like 3 planks with a bobble on top, and try and make it look from a distance like it's one of those American shooting ranges. It's so ropey. It must have cost them shrapnel to do it. Stick 3 planks. I mean, it looks so piss poor. I thought it was actually going to be a spoof, or I thought it played really well as a spoof.
I wished it played it for laughs completely.
This is. All of those 1-star slatings it got, I can totally understand. This is not a good film, but I think there's a lot to like, just because
it's definitely more. It's more affable than a 1-star movie.
I still think it's a terrible film, and
I'd give it 1.5.
But it's. I'm not. I can understand why people like it, especially our generation. Predator, the things that it cribs from, even though it does all of it quite badly. I can't help but have a little bit of a soft spot for it, but
that's what I said. It's not like, do you know what I mean? It's not. It didn't wind me up as much as Runaway. Like, in terms of just like, I was just bored. I wasn't bored of this. I was just like, this is fucking goofy as fuck. But at least I wasn't bored by it. At least it was like it was trying to do action. It was trying to do. In a more of a kind of a gripping way that there is characters in danger.
If you weren't alive when this was made, there's nothing to see here. I would not recommend this to anybody who wasn't alive. I mean, because the nostalgia factor is strong with this one.
Yeah.
There's no way that this isn't a worse movie than Runaway. Runaway's better than this.
I know which one I enjoyed more. I think I would rather drink like a case of beer and watch Split Second than drink a case of beer and watch Runaway.
Split Second is an attempt. I mean, it's not. It's so almost. It's comically derivative, and I do have a soft spot for it. But
it's not. What I think is quite funny. It's just like it's so fucking cheap as soggy chips. I've said it before. It's trying to be something.
Okay, if Martin Scorsese burst into this room right now and said, "What's a better film?" I don't care about drinking beer. Recommend me a movie tonight. I'm going to go to this movie tonight, and I'm going to see a reissue of one of these 2 movies.
I'll be going. Martin, will you be going to the pub before this screening?
Yeah. We'll go for a beer.
Who are you going with? Who are you seeing it with? Bobby De Niro, Joe Pesci. Who are you seeing?
Yeah, they've just wrapped their Netflix show, and they're all going to go and watch it together.
I think I'm not going to come with them. The recommendation in my head.
Look, which movie's better?
The film I enjoyed more was Split Second. The better made movie is Runaway.
But what do you?
There's more money. It's a lush.
Yeah, but
it's got a ton of money thrown at it.
That doesn't necessarily mean the film's better.
No. So the film I enjoyed more was Split Second, right? But I can't deny the better movie. The better made movie was Runaway, but I'd rather watch Split Second than Runaway.
So Split Second is your choice for winner?
It is.
Okay. Mine's Runaway, definitely.
We need to do. This is amazing. 2 calls to the Ostinator.
2 calls in a row.
Yeah, I can't. I don't want to watch Runaway ever again. Split Second I can watch again.
I could probably watch both of them again, to be perfectly honest. In the right environment, Split Second would
I'm just not getting enjoyment out of Runaway.
Yeah, I liked it.
It's aged crushingly bad.
I didn't think
it's got a terrible. Tom Selleck should not be in fucking feature.
And he wasn't. He.
Well, that's why.
Yeah, I know. I totally.
And Gene Simmons is the worst on-screen baddie who's ever been committed to celluloid.
I totally agree. This is very similar to the discussion we had about the Corman movies, because all that I think is the most important thing is that the story is well told, and I think that is something you can say about Runaway. You can't say it about Split Second, and.
But I think it's attempting to tell a story, but it's convoluted because there's so many things. It's multiple genres.
Okay, so let's find out what the Ostinator has to say.
I strongly think he's seen hopefully at least one of these movies.
Oh shit, we got a tiebreaker.
Ostinator, QSK, we're trying to find an Ostinator. Ostinator in the building right about now. Oh, my days, thank God for that. We have got a predicament and a half here. We have got 2 films, head to head, toe to toe, and we can't find a winner. So we're turning to you. We have got Runaway versus Split Second. What are you saying?
First of all, let's kick off with Runaways. It's the earlier film here, directed and written by Michael Crichton. Love Michael Crichton, love his work, love his views on dystopian futures. However, this one is let down by the lack of CGI and technology. The ideas are there, the execution is weak at times with some of the attacking robots. However, there are many saving graces in this film, one of which is obviously Tom Selleck being the man with the moustache, fantastic, doing the whole shtick as he should. However, for me, some of the supporting cast are the ones that really steal the show. I'm talking Kirstie Alley being absolutely incredible in the 80s, sexy as everything, love it. Also, the actor that played Captain Harris in the Police Academy films has a lovely turn in this one.
Today hooks today.
Today hooks today. Yeah. Some of as I said, the CGI lets it down. However, I feel Crichton's idea behind this and the kind of automation and AI of robots taking over is an idea that's above and beyond the sum of its parts. So personally, I think this one gets the edge, but let's have a little talk about Split Second. Oh my God, this is the film that Blade Runner could have been. Joke. I love Rutger Hauer very much. I think he was the go-to guy at this time. I love the fact there's a film set in this flooded London with rats, which is great for me. It's really nice to see London in the, I think it was early 90s when this was made, and amazing shots around the city and everything else. But for me, a lot of it kind of got lost. Kim Cattrall's sideburns, let's talk about that for a minute. I think she's just come off the Star Trek shoot, so she was just straight as she looked in those ones, exactly. Listen, there was a lot of fun. I liked the buddy cop banter between Stone and Durkin. I thought that was really, really interesting. Sadly, the kind of crescendo, the alien monster at the end, which looked straight out of Geiger, for me was too short and weak. And the taking the heart out scene, for me, it could have been a lot more intricate. Exactly. It was very, very Mortal Kombat. It's a very close one. 2 films of the same sort of caliber, but in this occasion, I've just got to exit to Runaway. So, Ostinator, over and out. Peace.
Eliminator with the Ostinator.
Okay, well, that was the Ostinator's verdict. I hope he went the right way. Runaway all day.
Let's hope.
Runaway all
day. No way. Split Second.
Split Second is a very, very endearing...
It is far more endearing than Runaway. Far more endearing than Runaway.
Why do you hate Tom Selleck so much?
Because he is stiffer than an ironing board.
Okay, well,
honestly, I find it quite awkward that he's on screen. I feel kind of like, ooh, he's so Stiff.
Right, well look, Ostinator chose right, and if he didn't, shame on him.
Yes, I've had some correspondence on this. Al Winter about these two films, Split Second, Easy. And we've got a correspondence on Twitter. Whirlwind reports, wow, Runaway, it's been so long since I've seen that movie. Tom Selleck, Gene Simmons, magical bullets and killer robot spiders equals awesome.
No doubt.
Paul Sutton, the real cat lad. Not Runaway versus Split Second. How can I choose between them? Love them both. Well,
Fair enough.
But fair enough, you really do love Split Second more than Runaway.
No. He sounded like a Runaway man to me.
Oh, Runaway. What a daft but fun load of bollocks.
Damn
Terminator killed it. Cyany boy.
Yeah, see, that's that on Wikipedia. It's like, yeah, it blames the lack of success on things like Terminator. One of the Star Treks came out just before as well.
Thank you very much for listening. As always, look, let's keep things going. If you've got an opinion on the films that we covered in this week's episode, Twitter, Facebook message us, email us, and we'll be back in another couple of weeks.
Cheers. See you in 2 weeks.
Have a